Hi everyone, it's Alison. Thank you for joining me today. Today I wanted to show you how to make this ribbon dispenser. I got this idea from Jan B. It was a video of hers from about 5 years ago, and this just holds 6 of the Stampin' Up ribbons. But I've also got ribbons that are smaller diameter than that. And so what I wanted to show you today is how you can make this dispenser with whatever size ribbons you've got. It will involve a bit of mathematics, but it's not that hard at all. So let me show you how to make one. Right, so what we're going to want to do first is we need to work out how round to have our little box. So what you need to do in order to work this out is you want to grab one of your spools of ribbon. Now ideally you want to, the ribbons that you're going to be putting in the box, you want them to have approximately the same diameter. If they're not quite the same, you just want to make sure that you use the largest one, otherwise it won't fit if you go for a smaller one. So you grab one of your spools and you just want to measure across the spool, just ensuring that you're going, if I turn it over you've got the hole there, so just ensuring that you're going across the middle of your spool there. And you want to grab yourself a pen and paper so you can write down your figures. So my spool, if you can see, is 2 3/8. So to make it simpler for calculating, I'm going to round that up to 2 1/2. So my spool is 2 1/2. You then want to halve that. So half of 2 1/2 is 1 1/4. And once you've done that, you then add on 1/4 inch. Okay, what I'll do is I will write the formula in the box below. So 1 1/4 add 1/4 inch, sorry, is 1 1/2. And this is basically what the size of one of your sides is going to be. So if you write down 1 1/2 or whatever figure you get, what you're then going to want to do is there's 6 sides on here because it's a hexagon. So you're going to want to times this figure by 6. Now thankfully 1 1/2 times 6 is quite an easy figure to calculate, because we know that half is 0.5. If you have 1 7/8 for argument's sake, the easiest way to do that is to first of all make the fraction, the fraction, the 7/8, into a decimal. So the way to do that is on your calculator, you just want to type in 7 divided by 8, because that's 7/8, and that gives you the fraction. So 1 7/8 is actually 1.875. So then you can do 1.875 times 6, and that gives you 11.25, and 0.25 is 1/4. If you're not sure what the decimal is back to the fraction, there's no easy way to do that other than Google it, because unfortunately the formula is so long-winded to do that. But you literally just go on to Google and you would do 0.25 as a fraction and it just comes up there, and then someone will have already worked that out for you, and that's 1/4 inch. Alright, so I hope that makes sense. But mine's a half, so 1 1/2 times 6 is 9. So I've got 9. But then what we want to do is inside our dispenser, we've got this little flap here, which is what holds our magnet. So we need to add on 1/2 inch. So one side of my cardstock measurement is going to be 9 1/2 inches. So now what we need to do is just work out the length of our box, and we've also got to allow for the sides as well. So what you want to do is grab your spools that is going to be going in your box, and just hold them together, and mine come to about 5 inches, and then you just want to add 1/4 of an inch to that. That just allows them to move slightly so they're not too tight. So that's going to be 5 1/4. Let's write that down here somewhere. And then of course you're going to need to allow for the sides, and the sides are going to be this first figure here that you've got. So it's 5 1/4, add 1 1/2 for the left hand side plus 1 1/2 for the right hand side. And if your figure here is 7/8 again, then obviously you're going to need to work out the decimal again to add that on. I hope that makes sense. As I say, do send me a comment if it doesn't, and I'll try and help you with your measurements. So what I need then is a piece, the side to be 5 1/4, add 1 1/2, add 1 1/2. So 1 1/2 and 1 1/2 is 3, add 5 is 8, add the 1/4 is 8 1/4. So my cardstock is going to be 9 1/2 by 8 1/4. Right, so I've now cut my piece of cardstock, and what we're going to want to do now is to score our sides. So mine is sort of on landscape, and I would have thought it would be similar for most. So you want to have the longest side at the top, and you just want to go along and score where depending on what measurement you had here from the beginning. So mine is 1 1/2, so you want to go along and score 1 1/2, 3, 4 1/2, and you want to do that until you've got 6 sides, and then at the end here you should be left with a little 1/2 inch piece there, and you then want to rotate it, and we're now going to be doing our sides. And again, you want to do that at 1 1/2 or whichever side measurement you had, and then I rotate it and score at 1 1/2 again. So you should have your cardstock with 6 sides here, a little 1/2 inch piece there, and then up here will be your little squares there. Right, so we're now going to be doing some cutting. So you should have, where you've got your 1/2 inch piece here, you should have a small rectangular piece there, or oblong, I'm not too sure what the right word is. And you just, first of all, want to cut up to this score line going along here. You don't want to do any wedges or anything like that. So you just want to have a perfectly square piece like that. And then just turn and do the other side as well. Okay, so now you should have that. And then what you want to do is you want to cut up all of the score lines, but just up to this first score line. And if you find that your scoring line is quite thick, you can cut that away if you like. But mine isn't too bad at the moment, so just cut up all the way to the first score line. And then you want to turn over and do the same on the other side. Okay, so you should now have something that looks like that. So now you just want to go ahead and fold and burnish all of your score lines. Right, so now what we're going to do is you want to turn it round now so you've got this little 1/2 inch piece to the right. We're now going to be applying some double-sided tape. And I do find actually using double-sided tape is a lot easier. It helps to keep it in shape if you've got an instant bond, whereas with wet glue it can take a while to dry. So what you want to do first then is, so again with this 1/2 inch piece on the right, You want to ignore the first square that we've got here, and you then just want to put a piece of tape, if I can find the end, along the top of the next 3. Okay, so you should have that. And then on this 4th one here, or 5th one if you like, you just want to come halfway along and come down the side. Okay, and then come back to these first 2 here. On this first one here, you want to come down the side on the right, and on this second one you want to come down the side on the left. So you should now have tape looking like that. Okay, and you want to do the same on the bottom here. So we'll start on this side. So leave the first one, come halfway across, and making sure it's on the bottom here, and then all the way down on the left. Next one along is just at the bottom. And we'll do one at the bottom and one on the left. And then the last one is one on the bottom and one on the right. Okay, and then you should have yours looking like that. Right, so now we want to turn it over so the tape's underneath, and you just want to now sort out the pattern paper that you want on these panels here. And if you're going to be using directional paper, I probably wouldn't, but if you do, then you want to have this at the top, and then that way it would be the right way up. But I'm going to be just using a non-directional. So you just want to measure what size you need, because obviously yours might be different to mine, and just cut 6 strips and then just stick those onto your sides. Right, so I've now stuck all my paper down. What you're now going to want to do is turn it over again, and again, so you've got this 1/2 inch piece at the top. Turn it over, and we just want to add a piece here just to reinforce, because this is where the holes are going to go and the ribbons are going to be fed through. So because they're going to be pulled, you want that quite strong. So again, you just want to measure your piece there. You'll probably find that whatever the size of your pattern paper was there would do, and you just want to stick that down so that that just helps to reinforce there. And you just want to make sure when you stick that on that it's not interfering with this at all. Right, so I've now stuck my reinforcement on, so that makes it nice and strong. Now what we're going to need to do is make a template so that we know where to put our holes in the front there. So you want to grab your ribbons again. These have all come unravelled. Can't wait to get these in their box. So what you want to do is grab a scrap piece of card that measures the same width as your measurement here, and you want it to be at least 1 inch high. And you want to get your spools, and I've got 2 quite wide ones here, so I shall put those at the end and have the others in the middle. And you just want to get your first spool and just put it so that it's about 1/8 inch away from the edge of your card there, and just draw a line on the edge of where the spool is there. Okay, so you've got that one, and you want to make sure you then have these in order. So I'll put that one down. Next I shall do this one. And you just want to, where you've got this line, just put your next spool, just so that it's not right up to it, but just quite close to it. And then draw a line again and put that on top. Then get your next spool and just do the same thing. So you just want to go up to the last line that you've made, leaving a small gap, and then drawing a line there, and just carry on until you've done all of the spools. And so when we get to our last one, you'll see that that should just fit on there just right, leaving a little gap at the end. Can't quite see that, but there's a little gap just here, and that will go on top there for now. And so then what you want to do is just eyeball roughly the middle of each space. It doesn't need to be exact, but this is where the holes are going to go. And so just place a little cross approximately in the middle of each space. Okay, so you've got something that hopefully looks like that. And then I just grab a ruler and then just run a line, checking that this line matches up with that line so that your ruler's straight, and just draw a line going all the way down through your cross that you've just made. Right, so you should now have that. So what you want to do now is grab your hole punch. I'm going to use a crocodile, and you want to use the bigger of the two. I think, I've forgotten what size it is. It's roughly 1/4 inch actually, might be just under 1/4 inch. And my holes, I'm going to need some bigger ones for these two larger spools, so I shall do the centre ones first. And you want to come up, I've got mine set at about 3/4 inch, and so just line up at 3/4 inch so that the line is running through the middle of the circle on your hole punch. Okay, so I've got that. So I can do that on the next one, on this size. And then these two end ones, I'm going to need to use a bigger hole punch. I've got this one here, I'm not too sure what size it is. I shall punch a hole and let you know, and you just want to line it up to the 1/2 inch. I think this one is nearly 3/8 inch, and then you just want to do one the other side. Okay, and so that's our template made. And so now we then just want to line that up on this bottom piece here. So you want to just line up so that the bottom of the template is lined up with the bottom of your cardstock there, and you just want to put a little pen mark in the middle of the circles that you've made. Okay, so now you should have your circles on there, and then you just want to go in again and just cut them out of here. Right, so now we should have this, and so now we're ready to start to put together. So first of all, what we want to do, so it's easier to make our first, to stick our sides together, we just want to come in 1/2 inch from the top here and just put a little pencil mark. So come in 1/2 inch there and 1/2 inch, and then do the same on this side. Okay, so now we've got our lines there. So now what we want to do is, one thing that Jan also used on here, which is really handy if you have got, is you want to use some temporary removable tape, and this just helps to hold it together while you stick the sides together. If you don't have this, you could use some washi tape, or just put a small bit of double-sided tape. You just don't want too much because you want it to be temporary. So I'm going to put some of this on. Then you just fold that over, checking that it's straight, and just push that down. And as I say, it's only going to be temporary, but it's really helpful to stop that moving when you're putting the sides together. So you just want to close one side so that you can hold it like this. And what we're going to do first is the bit that's got the holes, we're just going to move out of the way for now. And then the bit that's got the half tape, we're just going to move out the way for now. And you should have a piece here with lines on. You want to grab the opposite side, and we're going to be sticking those together like that. So the best thing to do is to first of all take your tape off. And then before sticking it properly down, just line it up with the lines that you've made, having your fingers either side so you can check that it's lined up and it's straight. And once you're happy that you've met the lines that you've made, just push down slightly so that it just takes like that. And if you're happy that that's straight, you can then just, mine's just moved slightly. Once you're happy that it's straight, you can then go in with your fingers and push that down so that the tape properly holds. And then with your next side, we're going to be sticking that down, but again you want to check that it lines up with its opposite side. So again we'll take the tape off first, and at this point just check that you've not accidentally put tape down this side. If you have, just leave the backing on. So you want to remove the tape. And then fold that over, but before it sticks down, just check that you're in line with the other side. And once you're happy with that, you can then push like that. And then we'll do the same with this side. Again, just checking you haven't got tape down that side, although on this one actually it doesn't matter. And then hold it over, check that it's lined up, and then push down. And then the last two, you want to put this flap down, and you're going to have this stick onto that flap, because this is actually what forms part of the lid, so this won't be stuck down at all, which you'll see once we've made it. So again, you just want to check that this is in line with this side, and that this is in line with this side. That's fine. Okay, so that should now look like that, and then you want to turn it over and just do the same on the other side. So again, it's finding the piece with your markings on, holding the edges until you're happy that it's straight, and then push down so that the tape meets. Okay, and then, so ignoring the one with the circles on, move that out the way and move the one out the way that's got the half tape. You then want to put this one down, but again ensuring that it lines up with its opposite. So at the moment you see it doesn't, so you have to manipulate it. So we'll take the tape off first, and just slightly move it just so that it is straight, and then push down. At the moment mine's unsticking, that might be why it was so out. Okay, but as long as you make sure that your sides are straight, then that's fine. And so then this one, and again to finish off, just check that that's in line with this one. And so you put that one down first and then bring this one over, ensuring it's in line with its opposite there. Okay, and then once that's stuck, you can open it up and just use your bone folder just to really check that stuck down. There we go. And then the temporary tape here will just peel off like that. And there is our box. So what we want to do now is add a magnet. You want to put a magnet just behind here. And my magnets are, they're quite small actually, this is going to stick, isn't it? So they are 3/8 of an inch by, I think they're 1 mil. So you want to grab your first magnet and pop some glue on it. At this point it doesn't matter which side you put the glue. So once you put some glue on, and then just position it roughly in the middle, but just on the flap. If I just bend that forward, you can just see that on there. Okay, and then you want to grab its mate and just let it drop or let it stick, and then pop some glue on. And then bring your lid over and just close it up and just push that on there like that. You can actually do this when the ribbons are in, which that might be a better idea actually, because then you've got something to push against. So let's just, yeah, see, that just won't stick at the moment. You can wait for the glue to dry, but what I'm going to do now is position my ribbons in there. This is the test now to see if they fit. And when I position them in, actually, I do it so that the ribbon is coming at the top there. And then just feed it through the holes that you've made. That one, it might be the other one actually. Could be that side. That fits better that side. Okay, so I've put all my ribbons in, so I should just pop a bit more glue on the magnet and then close it up, and then that way you've got the ribbon there, which helps you to push down so that the magnet sticks. And you want to just let that dry before you try and open the lid. And there's our finished box, and the magnet just helps. Let me see if mine's dry. No, it's still not dry. It does take a while. Let me use a that. I've already got the let's pop a bit more glue on. Because I've got the mark there where it was stuck, I can do it that way just so I can show you. There we go. And so that will just snap shut like that. So there we go. I really hope you'll give it a go. I know it seemed very complicated with the measurements. As I said, if you do have an issue with that, let me know, and I will see if I can work it out for you. They are pretty much standard size, I think, so I should be able to help you with the measurements. As I say, I will pop a formula down in the description box below. But I hope you give it a go. Thank you for watching my channel today. And if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, I would love it if you would. And also, if you hit the bell icon, you'll be notified when I upload another video. Thanks again for watching. Bye.